Greetings to the best family on YouTube. Well, that's in our opinion, and that's darn tootin'. Our wonderful EDC family. I'm your host, Prophet, and with me as always is the professor. And folks, we thank you for joining us for another EDC video. However, today's video is going to be a little different. It's going to be an upgrade. It's going to be an upgrade to our very first rules video. As we've grown, we've started to, expand our content, right? We've decided to upgrade the rules here to cut down on our long form video times. We also want to talk a bit about unboxing, first impressions, takedowns, other videos you'll start to see. Okay, so here's how it works. In every video, we have our greeting, which you're seeing right now. And in this greeting, we call that our opening. Now, normally our opening, it's usually just me, Prophet, right? Breaking bread and welcoming all of you EDC family, and then introducing the item or items of the week. Now, these items or item will really have been used or carried and tested for a minimum of 30 days, straight before it makes it to our full review carry or bury game. Now, so the item has familiarity with us, right, at that point, and we've also done some research, whether that would be Reddit, Blade forums, secondhand sales places like eBay, retailers, and other various sites. We want to see what others think and feel, as well as putting in our own opinions. So, with all of that familiarity and research out of the way, we will then usually let you know what the name of the item is and what it means in that opening segment. Now, we will then let the folks who don't want to stick around for the next 3 segments and really learn all that nitty-gritty little things that we like to put in our content, those people can take what we call our Professor's Portal. And really what that is that will give a portal, if you will, of escape, okay? And that really, I kind of do make a big deal of it in the videos. I get that. I like to try to have fun with you, EDC family. But the reality of the Professor's Portal really is a lot simpler than we make it out to be. What's happening is Professor's putting up a beautiful little animation for you. Then he gives you a timestamp, like, something like 000. Now, the reason I'm saying 000 is because I don't want you skipping anywhere. These are the rules. But in the future, it will give you a way to skip that. So basically, we'll lose part of our viewers for a little bit, and they'll skip the 3 segments that we just spoke about to jump to our carry or bury review. To make things very simple, once we have the Professor's Portal happen, what we're going to do is we're going to move into our first actual segment after our greeting, which we call Knowledge is King. Professor, can you please put up the Knowledge is King for our subscribers so they can take a peek at that? Okay, thank you so much. So basically, you'll see this icon come up, and that will tell you that you're in the Knowledge is King section. What that section is I will give you information or tidbits on the company, the maker, maybe things I've read online, maybe something from Blade forums, anything really that comes to mind that you might think is neat, how it came into existence, any awards or other tidbits. Has the inventor really done their due diligence? A lot of really cool stuff we like to talk about in that opening Knowledge is King portion of the video. The whole time, you'll see the Knowledge is King icon there, so you know where you are. Now, then we finish up with the Knowledge is King portion. We will then move on to our second segment. The professor will now swap out our Knowledge is King icon somewhere on the screen, right? And he'll put in the other icon, which we call Professor's Particulars. Now, so you'll physically see one icon leaving and another coming in. So if you ever have to fast forward through a section, you'll know exactly where you are. In this section, we have the Professor's Particular icon to talk about stats. Pretty cool, huh? Now, again, during the whole time we're going over the stats of the knife or the gear or the item that we're going over, he will have that Professor's Particulars icon on the screen for you the entire time. That, again, will help you know where you are. Once we're finished with the statistics, we move on to our third and final section before the game. Now, Professor, will you please put up our license plate? Thank you, sir. This one, as you can read from the plate, is pretty self-explanatory. As the license plate says, this is our comparison section. We will use items that are alike the product that you may have held or seen at some point yourselves. Maybe not. The idea is to get a view on the size and shape of the item compared to other like items. Normally, the last comparison that we show you will be what we're going to be doing our next full video on. Just a kind of little sneak peek, if you will. Then, as the license plate icon leaves your screen, thus ending our 3 segments after our greeting and opening, we will now welcome back folks from the professor's portal who took that little time skip, and we will get into our game, how the game works. Now, we may have 50 things, 100 things that we like or don't like on an item or a piece of gear. But for the sake of time, and we all know I can kind of really chew through time, what we want to do is we want to get to 4. Once we get to 4 positives, we then will go to 4 negatives. If we get to 4 and 4, we have a tie, and we will need to have a tiebreaker. So by this time, we're going to be either recommending the item, okay, for you to carry or purchase, or we will be not recommending the item and actually burying it on our property in our little toy coffins. Now, eventually, we'll need to figure something out about the items that we're burying on our back property, but that's down the road. Maybe we'll do a fun zombie special one day. Maybe, right? Maybe we'll pull them up during that special and we'll do a giveaway. Because remember, if we don't like an item and we don't recommend it, that doesn't mean that someone out there wouldn't disagree. Heck, by then we've given our 2 cents, right? So we've given our disclosure on it. So what's the harm of giving it to someone who will show it some love? Now, the other note for the carrier bury game is what we use for the positives and negatives. If you remember, I said we get to 4 positives, then we stop, get to 4 negatives, then we stop. The icons you will see during the game, we use pocket icons that have the word need stitched into them, thus representing the positives of an item. This basically means carry, right? EDC items, we're going to be carrying these items. So if we use the word pocket or need, basically that is just another word our channel uses for the word positive. Now, for the negatives, what we will use are little nail icons, thus signifying nails in a coffin. So again, nails are synonymous with, that's right, negatives. Now, it's important to remember that these are our opinions, folks. Then, once the game is over and you have our little recommendation on carrying, or you have our non-recommendation to bury, it's fun to note that all of this is just for entertainment. Now, we do have a very large EDC collection here, and as we grow, these are what we will mostly be using in our videos, the items that we're highlighting. However, one day, we will get to a really good place with the number of subscribers, and we will start to have different options. What does that mean? We might be getting sent things from you, our wonderful subscribers, someone in the EDC family, or retailers or makers of an item may want to send us their items so we can maybe take a peek at them, right? When that time comes, we will always let you know. We will have a disclosure where the item came from. Another thing you need to note is that when we do a full review on items, we have had to spend 30 days with them in real world applications. Otherwise, we would not be very good at giving you our opinion, would we? Now, there also will come a time where we may buy items or get sent items like I just talked about. This is where we have to have some different new content. We're going to start calling this our first look or our unboxing. There will also come a time, like we talked about, where we get sent items from either you and our wonderful EDC family, or again from a retailer or a store or a maker. Now, this may start happening sooner than we think. Now, that reminds me actually, real quick, if you would like to have an item sent in to be reviewed, or just to have us take a first look at it, feel free to ship it out to us. We will pay for the shipping. We will email you a shipping label. Then, depending on if you want it fully reviewed or if you just want it to be a first impression, we will obviously honor your choice and we will not subject the item to anything you do not want it subjected to. Now, with that being said, for any retailers or makers out there, and For anyone who wants to send us something, please feel free to reach us at carrierbury@gmail.com. That's carryorbury@gmail.com. For retailers and makers, I do want to note that our opinions are our own. We will not be told what to say. However, if you feel like you've got a great product and you just want someone that has a fun way of showing the public how to either review and recommend it, we would love to have you send us things. With all that being said, let's get back to this new form of content we're telling you about on our channel, which is the unboxing videos and the first impression videos. So how we're going to handle that is we are going to kind of have a mini Carrier Bury game. What does that mean? Well, this opens up a whole new world to us and a whole new world to you. So, like the full reviews, we'll start out with the greeting and the introduction of the item. Most likely, I'll have my normal tidbits on there on the name. And then, instead of moving to the professor's portal, because there's really no need for that, because this is, again, a shorter version of our game, what we will do is then go right into our remember, count them, 3 segments. They will be micro segments. So basically we will have our quick knowledge is king section, right? Then we will have a quick professor's particulars section. Then we will have a quick comparison. We may or may not use what we're going to have in the next long form video. In the comparisons, you may only see 1 or 2 items that we're comparing it with. In the stats section, you're most likely only going to get a few stats that are going to be really important, right? Maybe weight, maybe blade thickness. We're going to not really take our time to go over every aspect of that piece. Again, these are going to be shorter formed. And then in the very first segment after the greeting, our knowledge is king section, what we'll be doing is giving you just a brief history on the company, maker, etc. And that's kind of what we're going to do. Then, once we are finished with those 3 segments, we're going to move right into our Carrier Bury game. Remember, no need to have anybody welcome back from the professor's portal. So what we will do is we will have a mini version of the game. Now, instead of if it carries, we recommend you to buy it. If it passes our carry section, what we're going to do is actually carry it. Let's say we're talking about this knife right here. This is the Winter Blade Severn. We just did our very first unboxing with this knife. If it really passes this mini unboxing or first impression game, then we'll carry the knife or we'll use the piece of gear for 30 days. At the end of the 30 days, guess what, folks? We will do our full review. So it's a very big potential that an item that we're reviewing will get 2 spots. It'll get a first impression unboxing spot or both. Then if it passes and wins our mini game, you will then get to see it again in 30 days plus once we've carried it and put it in real world situations and applications. Okay. So how we're going to handle it, and we're going to again use the Winter Blade Severn here as our example. Let's say we did a first impressions or a box opening with this knife, which we did, but we didn't have the rules set up yet. We would go through it a little bit, go through the 3 segments, then I would pick it up. We'd talk about on air or on recording at the time what I like about it. We'll give 3 things that I like about the knife. For instance, I may say, man, this new stealth locking mechanism is awesome. The weight feels fantastic. And I really like this little removable magnet that he put there. We would then stop and say, okay, there is 3 needs or 3 pockets or 3 positives. Let's see what I don't like about the knife. Well, first impression wise, let's just say I can get to 3 things. I don't have 3 things on this knife, but let's just say that I did. Let's say I didn't like the color, I didn't like the chamfering, and let's say I didn't like the pocket clip. What we would then have is a tie. We would have 3 positives and 3 negatives in our first impression. Then we would kind of ponder it for a little bit. I may just kind of talk for a second. Then we may say, you know what? I really do like this laser design, or I really like the way the blade has that no bounce technology when you're closing it. Well, then we got to 4 positives or 4 needs, and then it is time to say we're going to carry it. But now this carry just means we're going to carry it forward to a full-length video. pretty cool. I like this idea. Professor likes this idea. Honestly, it's going to really give us a lot more options and a lot more content to look at. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Folks, I really do appreciate your time on this. I hope that these rules really help, because we are going to shorten everything in our long form videos so we can give you more content that isn't always talking about the same things. Awesome. Now, one more thing, folks, before we go, is I am going to show you what I carried personally today. You probably noticed this little silver coin sitting here. This is a trade dollar. I carried this little guy in my pocket as my pocket piece. It is from 1900. It is pretty darn cool. So this was what I carried today. All right, so that was the pocket piece. For the knife that I carried today, I actually carried this guy right here. This was the Winter Blade Mirage, which they are going to be having a sale on these coming soon. Check their website. Really, really cool little guy. And we will be having our full-length video on this next. You should see that either this coming Sunday or shortly after. We're going to start filming this tomorrow. All right. Now, I also had a flashlight, as I always do. I carried this little guy. This is my Olight Arc Field. Really, really like this knife. It has a lot of options. Can't really go wrong with it. It is the Arc Field Pro. It's got 3 different options. And I've got a cool little belt case for it. And before we go, there is one really important thing I want to talk about, folks. Really what that is if we ever do not carry a knife, if we ever play our mini game or we play our full game and we get to a point, for instance, these two were both buried. I had to go and get them out of the darn ground and clean them up to do this video. However, that's fine. I'm not going to complain too much. What I wanted to really note here is this doesn't mean that these two are bad knives. It doesn't even mean they're bad companies. It just means something that I can't get behind. And when you watch our Carrier Bury review, you'll see why. There are always good and bad with everything that you're going to buy. But if I really am going to say, spend your hard-earned money on something, I want it to be overwhelmingly good for you. Now, you may disagree with everything I say, and that's fine. That's what I love about America, right? But what we will quick talk about are these two again. This right here is a wonderful little knife that we buried for several reasons. You've probably seen the episode. And what we want to talk about on that is that doesn't mean that Artisan Cutlery is a bad company. In fact, let me be really clear. I love Artisan Cutlery, and we have more of their products that you'll be seeing for a review very soon. This is a Ray Laconico design that is fantastic. And if you haven't noticed, it's sporting Damasteel, a beautiful carbon fiber on the show side, and titanium on the clip side. Honestly, this is a beautiful little knife. I have carried the heck out of it lately, and it will absolutely see a full-length review. This will be in a Carrier Bury game soon. So remember, that doesn't mean that just because we buried one Artisan Cutlery knife that we're going to bury all of them. You know, heck, we may bury this one, but that doesn't mean that we're going to stop giving them a chance, right? I mean, heck, I know Artisan Cutlery has great knives. I don't want to spoil this one. You'll have to find out. Now, Kaiser, again, Kaiser is slowly becoming a company that's giving a lot of really great budget options that are really good knives. I didn't like this one. This knife absolutely did not make my cut, and therefore we're not recommending it. However, folks, we are going to have all kinds of first impressions on some Kaisers coming up. I do not want you to think that just because this Kaiser was not for us, that no Kaiser is for us. You will be seeing some brand new first impression unboxings on the channel from Kaiser. I think you're going to be impressed with what you're seeing. Again, just because we don't recommend one thing does not mean, my goodness, that the company is a bad company. No, so seriously though, folks, something to really think about. We've got a lot of really wonderful things coming up, a lot of new content, and this video was really just to let you know how that's going to work. Now, as always, I kind of like to give you my little disclosure, right? About any knife that you've seen on our channel, basically anything that you've seen on our channel or will see on our channel. We are YouTubers. We're not lawyers. You should never get legal advice from anyone that isn't a professional. But seriously, please take a look into and know about your local knife laws. Again, talk to a lawyer or other trusted legal professional, but it also doesn't hurt to visit and, if at all possible, to support atki.org. They are the American Knife and Tool Institute, and they are on the front lines, helping us keep our freedoms and our rights. Now, unless your hands and fingers are not stuck in wax or carbonite, you should be able to find us pretty easily online. It's you that help us grow. Remember that, EDC family. Now, another thing to remember, we're not social media experts, okay? We're EDC compassionate people, but we need your help. So just kind of give us a break as we learn these social media sites. But you can still find us, you can still follow us by simply clicking that search bar and by lovingly typing, well, maybe not lovingly, but by typing Carry or Bury, or @Carry or Bury. Now, following us really helps the channel, but nothing helps us more than subscribing and sharing our content, talking in the comment section, hitting the like button, all that things that other YouTubers talk about. Now I digress as always. But regardless, in case you forgot, @Carry or Bury, remember, just look for our logo. Now, until next time, EDC family, keep those blades sharp, right? Keep those flashlights charged. And if you're like me, keep those Band-Aids close. I really got a kick out of this particular Band-Aid, by the way, EDC family. This is a Damasteel branded Band-Aid. How cool is that, right? Damasteel. Now, if you remember here, where'd it go? Oh, so this is actual Damasteel here. And this is a Damasteel Band-Aid. I love it. I'm telling you, folks. Actually, let's get that in the final shot right there, huh? Let's go through it even one more time just because I love you guys. Keep those blades sharp. Keep those flashlights charged. Keep those Band-Aids close, especially if you're a prophet who cuts himself constantly. God bless you, EDC family. Thank you so much for your support and for helping us grow. We truly are getting to do something that we love, and we hope that these rules help bring some things into light. I had to do it. I know this was more of a serious video. Professor made me promise to be more serious, but hey, it's me. I couldn't just give you guys nothing. God bless you, EDC family. We thank you.